I want to bring in Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, who is president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and an Obama 2012 national co-chair. Always great to have you on the program, Mayor. Good morning.
It's great to be on the program with you.
Let me ask you about this whole messaging question, because we've got, Mitt Romney out on the bus, and we have the DNC answering with their own bus campaign. But, when the president talks about Congress, when he talks about George W. Bush, and we should say that there's a poll out that shows still there's a lot of Americans who blame the former president for the state of the economy. But does he have to be more forward-looking, to the point of the James Carville memo? Does he need to look ahead more than he's been? Is it enough to say Congress isn't cooperating and I inherited a really bad deal?
Actually, there are a lot of economists that put a lot of the blame for where we are economically on the Bush policies, which are identical to the Romney policies. It's cut, cut, cut. It's not making the investments that we need going into the future. And I think this campaign and this election will be about the future, not just about where we are today, but where we want to be. When you look at America, what made us strong? America's middle class has always been the motor force of our development. That means we've got to invest in education. That means we've got to invest in workforce development so that we can compete around the world. If you look at the Romney plan, he wants to cut and eviscerate virtually every program, education, first responders, virtually every program, investment in infrastructure that you can think of, and a $5 trillion tax cut to boot that we can't pay
then
for.
To that point, Mayor, let me ask you, because obviously Mitt Romney is going out into an area with this bus tour to get buzz with blue-collar Americans. He's going into rural areas. He's going into small towns all across these battleground states. I don't think there's anybody who would argue that this is not an election that's going to be decided by that middle class who is a little bit nervous about where this country has been and where it's going. If you're right, if your argument is right, why is this race so close?
Well, the economy. Look, of course it's going to be close.
Why hasn't the president convinced those middle-class Americans that he's the better one to lead forward? Well,
that's going to be the job of this election. But the fact of the matter is, I thought Erica and Ron said it very well. This bus tour is all about fluff. It's all about buzz. It's all about empty rhetoric. It's not about substance. They just talk about cut, 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 taxes, cut, cut, cut programs, no investments going into the future. When you look at President Obama, he's made it absolutely clear. If we're going to be competitive, we've got to invest in our transportation system, in our ports, in our airports. We've got to pass a surface transportation bill that will put 2 million people to work over the next couple of years.
I just got handed something. I'd like to ask you about it because it's right in your wheelhouse, something that you know very well. The Obama administration has just announced that it will stop deporting and begin granting work permits to younger illegal immigrants who come to the U.S. as children and who have since led law-abiding lives. The election year initiative addresses a top priority of the influential Latino electorate. Let me get your reaction to this. Did you know it was coming?
I did. I didn't think it was coming for a couple of hours, but I did know it was coming, and I support it. I think a vast majority of Americans believe that these young people who live here, who have been here most of their lives, who know no other country, who oftentimes can't speak any other language other than English, ought to have a pathway to citizenship. This doesn't provide that, but at least it protects their status, and I think it's a good thing.
Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, I know you've got a busy schedule there at the Conference of Mayors. It's kind of you to take the time to talk with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.